is pro-Palestinian activism. Khalil, a Palestinian refugee and US permanent resident, spent over 100 days in immigration custody after being arrested in March, accused of posing a threat to US foreign policy. The Trump administration sought his deportation, citing Secretary of State Marco Rubio's determination that his activism harmed national interests. But a federal judge ordered his release last month, ruling he posed no flight risk or community threat. In his legal claim, Khalil accuses the government of false imprisonment, malicious prosecution and inflicting emotional distress. His lawyers argue he was targeted for protesting Israel's actions in Gaza, protests which the administration has linked to anti-Semitic behaviour, an accusation Khalil rejects. The 28-year-old says his arrest, which occurred in front of his pregnant wife, caused lasting trauma, including missing the birth of his first child. Now he's demanding either $20 million or an official apology for what he calls a chilling attack on student activism and free speech. The Department of Homeland Security dismissed Khalil's claim as absurd, defending the government's actions. Well, joining us to discuss this lawsuit and this claim, Terry Milewski, a former correspondent of CBC and author, joining us from Ottawa. Khalid spent around 3 months in detention, Terry. He is claiming the damages of that to the tune of $20 million. Do you think he's actually looking for $20 million? Or as he said, is he looking to make a statement here with an official apology also sufficing? How do you see it?
Well, I think he's clearly looking for either to be the apostle of free speech by accepting much, much less than $20 million, or he wants to pocket the $20 million. Either way, he wants to humiliate the government. He wants to humiliate the administration. I find it doubtful that the administration will bite on either option at the moment, and then they must consider the possibility that they might lose if it goes to court. And I wouldn't like to predict which way that goes. It's a complicated question, and it's bound. Almost anything that the administration does at this point will be potentially embarrassing. There could be a bad result because, as of now, there are still plenty of courts which will find against the government. It still happens. So I think that either way, he's got the government between a rock and a hard place, hasn't he?
Terry, do you think this brings to light a broader question around anti-Semitism? Of course, the Trump administration looking at universities in the States, Columbia being one of them, but also, of course, Harvard. A long-running debate now between anti-Semitism but also free speech. Do you think that line is being muddied, and do you think more clarity needs to be made about what clearly is anti-Semitism and what is free speech, and questioning what some people view as atrocities in Gaza on civilians?
Yes, I think that this certainly is a live question, and I think it will remain so, because I don't see this being settled. This is just a proxy for the real battle. Whether he can win his case and so forth, that's all a symptom rather than, it doesn't tell us that much about the cause. The long-running, eternal, perhaps, debate that you outline is not going to be settled this week or next year. It is going to remain true that Israel's opponents will find whatever pretext is current, what the flavor of the month. Right now, of course, it's the situation in Gaza, and the allegation, which you have seen front page news, New York Times today, for example, the investigation by the Times suggesting that Prime Minister Netanyahu has stayed in power, is using the war in Gaza to stay in power. The longer he prolongs the war, the theory is, the longer he stays in power. So if it's not that, it'll be the next thing. There'll be some next other horror story, which will keep this debate alive and unsettled. There will be no winner. Nobody's going to finally have an ultimate court case that is going to prove that free speech means this, anti-Semitism means that. This will remain with us for another century, I think, as it has been since 1947.
Yes, Terry, you will be staying with